Hey, you're good.
Okay. Oh, you mean good as in we're live? You're such a dick.
Calling
Okay,
troublemakers.
what is that? Um, dicks. So the kids are obsessed with butts lately, and like not like how kids are obsessed with butts. Like, okay, wait.
Do they like big
Rewind.
butts and they cannot lie?
They love. Well, their newest thing lately is to run up to the teachers and pinch their butts and be like, "Ah, poo butt," and run away.
And see,
And
when I do that, I get in trouble.
Yes.
well, so do they.
So
And
apparently, when I do it, it's not cute.
It's sexual
also-
harassment.
you're also not 3 years old, Anthony.
See, it's ageism.
Yeah, that's ages, and that's bullshit.
Okay, well, shut up, because you guys are weird, and you shouldn't be calling people poo butts and pinching them and running away.
Shut up, poo butt.
Shut up, poo butt. You're a poo butt. I lost my story now because we got all sidetracked and shit
With poo butts.
with poo butts.
You got so that's it.
Well, okay, so the other day,
You had one job.
You got one job.
You
I
had
had two jobs.
Two jobs.
So
We
the
got no poo butts, no guests. What the hell?
all right, do you want me to fucking tell you this story or what?
Yes.
All right, shut up. So,
We've been waiting for the story.
so the other day, this kid runs up and does it to me, and I grab his hand and I tell him that's not nice, and he turns around and he goes, "Why? Because you have poo on your butt?" And then he laughs again, and then he ran away, and I'm like, "What just happened?"
Yeah, you really can't usually win an argument with a 3-year-old, right?
No, arguing with a 3-year-old is pretty much like arguing with anybody on the internet ever.
There you go.
No, you can win. You just need a shock collar.
Yeah. Oh, Chris Hansen put the perfect gif up. It's Tina Belcher going butt, and then you can see Jimmy Jr. butt. I'm in love with Bob's Burgers, so I know exactly what episode that's from and everything.
Everyone tells me that's a good show. I just can't get into it.
Not me. I'm not part of that, everyone.
Okay,
I hate that show.
I know we've heard your rant. I love Bob's Burgers because here's the thing: it's a lot. Everybody's like, well, what about Family Guy and American Dad? Those shows fucking suck. I thought Family Guy was really funny, like the first couple of seasons, and then I realized that it's all the same joke over and over again. And Seth MacFarlane just pretty much gets away with like everything, and the only reason why I have like a plus for him is because he's the producer of Cosmos.
Thunder
So,
Buddies for life, yo.
No, Ted was just a really long Family Guy. Like,
I
it was
like
just,
Ted.
I like Ted also.
I don't know. I think I'm told that it's a female thing that we dislike Seth MacFarlane because he's just incredibly. He's not a good person other than his Cosmos and his Reading Rainbow thing. Like, that was like the only two things that I think that I like that he's done.
I think it's funny because the wife really likes Family Guy and went through the whole thing on Netflix. She enjoys the Sunday night cartoons on Fox a lot, and she likes Bob's Burgers too. But I'll be watching Family Guy, and I think my problem is that whenever he's got a joke that should last 10 seconds, it always lasts 18.
It's the Jay Leno syndrome.
Well, I mean,
Every fucking joke on Family Guy goes twice as long as it should.
look at the chicken fight. Like, seriously, that thing should have died after the first one. But
Well, honestly, here's the thing: is his best show is the one that gets the least publicity, and that's American Dad, because it is really funny.
I found parts of that funny, some episodes, but sometimes it's just.
boyfriend really likes American Dad. He'll put it on, and that's fine. I can keep that on in the background. But I don't like it. Bob's Burgers, like the family dynamic in that show. You got Family Guy where they make fun of Meg and they hate Meg and whatever, and you get Bob's Burgers where they actually genuinely care about each other. Like, there's this one episode where Tina's getting picked on, like she's getting blackmailed, and so like the whole premise, or it's not like the whole that's the whole premise of the show, but it turns out that Louise and Gene like decide that you can't pick on Tina unless you're one of the Belchers themselves, and so they go off and they take care of the girl Tammy who is the girl who's blackmailing her, and like it's stuff like that. Like the show has heart, whereas like I can't say that with Family Guy or American. I don't know about American.
Well, see, part of the problem here is that Fox's Sunday night programming is super stale now. The Simpsons hasn't been funny in like 6 years at least.
But that's another show that I felt like, at least the family cares about each other. I mean, there's genuine moments between like Homer and Lisa that's just amazing.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's not funny anymore. Why do people watch it still? Like, I tried. I watched a few episodes. The only one I found entertaining this last season was the Lego episode, because it was Lego.
At this point, I mean, what, 28 seasons in? They watch it because it's fucking on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, like, recently it's been amazing or anything like that, but, at its core, Simpsons has heart. That's what I'm saying, is that the shows that I enjoy have heart in them. I can't say that with Family Dad, American Dad or Family Guy or whatever. I can't say that those are shows that, like, at its core have a heart to it. It's just Family Guy, I feel like, is just mean all the time.
Family Guy is more of an Adult Swim type TV show, let's be honest here. Because that's where it thrived after it got canceled on Fox, and that's what brought it back was Adult Swim. Because Adult Swim is known a lot more for the odd insult type shows. I mean, let's be honest. Aqua Teen Hunger Force is all about making fun of crap.
In the chat room, Chris Hansen has said Family Guy is pretty terrible now. American Dad was pretty good, but the last season was pretty bad. Clone Freak 1 has said Roy Rogers McFreely is my favorite episode ever, which is the episode I've seen like 9,000 times thanks to him. Chris Hansen has said people watch Simpsons out of brand loyalty. Clone Freak 1 says I don't think anyone actually watches The Simpsons, which is actually really possible because they could just have it on because it's on Sundays.
Because it's Sunday night and that's what's on Sundays. Like I said, people watch it because it's on.
Not necessarily because it's.
But yeah, it's one of those shows where, I mean, with their run being as long as it is, like there's certain people that will watch the Tonight Show every night, whether or not they even like the host or the guests. But that's what's on, is the Tonight Show. And the same people watch Letterman the same way. Because you watch something for 10, 15 years and you just keep watching it. Whether you're not, I mean, some people will do that even if they hate something. They'll just keep watching because that's what they're used to.
I don't know, it just bums me out that Futurama's gone. This just brings all that back.
I keep Futurama on as my background while I'm writing shows. But then I get distracted because I start watching.
Yeah, because some of those episodes...
We start talking Fox cancellation shows, we're going to have a long episode.
How long till Gotham gets canceled?
I give it a week.
A week? Ouch!
I give it a week. No, come on. They didn't even give Firefly a week. Like, they literally, with Firefly, they were like, yeah, here's one episode.
Huge difference. Firefly didn't have Warner Brother money behind it.
It was an unproven property versus the other one's the goddamn Batman. To paraphrase Frank Miller.
Even if he's 8 years old, it's still the goddamn Batman.
Seriously. Now I'm all confused. Let's just do our news of the week. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Sweet, I don't have to do it.
So this one I found out about over the week because a boyfriend had informed me of it, and then I actually found an article on it. It's called Fish Play Pokemon, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it is exactly what you think it is. So a while ago they did Twitch Play Pokemon, where it was a crowd participation stream on Twitch and people typed in the commands and they, basically the entire internet just controlled this game of Pokemon. Well, now they're doing it with fish. Basically what they're doing is they made a trackpad and put it on a fish tank, and whenever the fish passes by like a certain spot, it'll do whatever that thing is. So there's like up, down, left, right, randomize, start, select, that sort of thing. It's really, I don't know if it's good or bad. I haven't actually
I'd heard at
watched
one
it.
point he kind of got stuck in a corner and had stayed there for like 3 hours. Eventually, he caught a Pokemon. It's called AABBB. But for those that are watching the live stream, I've pulled up Fish Plays Pokemon. You can see where they've kind of mapped out the 9 different quadrants in his bowl based off of button commands. It's interesting.
Like, this is going to be the longest game of Pokemon ever. I'm just going to throw that
Yeah,
out.
but it's kind of
watching
damn
that?
funny.
The people that are in between, giving money to potato salad Kickstarters, those are the people sitting watching that fucking channel right now. I hate those people.
Well, there's also, like, the people who watch the kitten cams all day. Like, seriously, they just sit there and watch kitten cams. Which, don't get me wrong, kittens are fucking adorable. But I have a life.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see right now, we've been watching this on here. Ash hasn't moved since I put on the camera on the Fish Plays
Just
Pokemon.
one step to the left.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Twitch Plays Pokemon was brilliant. This is just the next way to try and capitalize on that. It's not quite as cool.
There's
but it's
somebody-
random.
According to Reddit, there's somebody who is now doing Rock Plays Pokemon.
Oh God.
It's literally just a rock playing, just sitting there.
Oh, and now he's gone back up to the B button, and down to select. Yeah, I don't think it's as fun as Twitch Plays Pokemon was because that was interactive. This is a lot of people watching and snarking in the chat room. It looks like.
Yeah, pretty
Am I
much.
seeing 3 million views?
Yes.
Yeah, 3 million views,
And isn't-
45,000 favorites.
Isn't Twitch a channel that you can monetize?
You can. It'll be interesting. That brings me to a side note. Supposedly Google's buying it. So once Google buys it,
Clone
Wonder
Freak in the chat says he beat his first Pokemon yesterday. It was funny as a thing, but I am not sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
it's kind of a social thing. I mean, I can understand it from one point where it's like watching bad movies with your friends on like a B movie night where you can sit there and snark and make jokes. That's kind of what people are doing here, is my guess, is having like a bad game night, for lack of a better term, and making
For 9 billion hours?
Yeah, I mean, it would get boring after about 30 minutes. And that's being generous, I think. But hey, more power to those people that are enjoying it. It's interesting. It's an internet meme. These things blow by real fast. This time next week, there'll be a new one. It'll be like Dog Plays Pokemon or something like that.
Yeah, to those people enjoying that, please don't breed. That's all I'm asking.
That's not that bad.
Please don't. Bullshit. If you're sitting watching a fish swimming around a fish tank controlling a Pokemon game, don't have children.
I don't want to anyways, so I'm going to watch more of this so I have a reason not
That's
to.
fine.
And you can explain to my mother one day why I don't want to have children then.
I will tell her while she is not a grandma.
Will you also explain that to my mother? I'm not watching it, but I just need you to explain that to my mother.
No. You have to pay the fucking toll of watching Fish Plays Pokemon to get this explained.
What
There's
if
no
I watch-
freebies.
What if I watch Rock Plays Pokemon?
Hey, you watch Rock Plays Pokemon for 6 hours, I'll explain to your,
Is
your
it Rock?
grandma or your mom.
Either or, take your pick.
I'll explain to both of them. 6 hours.
I have to ask,
6
is
hours
it
of
Rock
Rock Plays
or
Pokemon.
The Rock? Because one would be much more fun than the other.
If it was The Rock, I would watch the shit out of that. Like, come on.
Hell yeah.
like,
That
I have-
would be entertaining.
okay, so off topic completely. The Rock's Instagram feed is the best Instagram feed.
Oh, I know, right?
If you don't, I joined Instagram because boyfriend was like, you have to join Instagram, and I'm like, fine. And then like 2 seconds later, I'm like, I'm joining so I can watch The Rock because his Instagram feed is the best one that's out there.
Is it more stuff than what's on his Twitter? Because I just follow him on Twitter.
He puts all of his Instagram pictures on Twitter, so you're getting the same stuff.
Do you get the
Okay,
videos
that's what
on
I thought.
Twitter?
I think so.
Yeah. The
Okay.
focus.
Yeah, the focus
Whatever-
videos.
Whatever he's doing in the gym, he's lifting weights and stop. Focus! And then
'Cause
goes back to
people
whatever he's doing.
Because people like stare at him while he's working out, and then
Yeah.
there's like there was one he did the other day where he's like trying to get a dog to run up the hill with him. He's like, this guy has no focus. Come on,
Nice.
it's amazing.
One of my favorite things is that on Twitter, The Rock follows no one
Yeah.
Of course.
because he's The Rock. That's still one of my favorite things. And I looked at when I first saw his real account, I was like, oh my god, he follows no one.
I love it. It's brilliant.
Well, he doesn't have time to be sitting there reading Twitter.
Yeah, he's always in the gym, damn it.
Yeah, motherfucker's got shit to do.
Tons of shit to do.
Have you seen his body? Come on, no, that doesn't.
He's got
that doesn't come from Twitter. His body is not a Twitter body.
No. And his epic cheat meals are insane.
Oh, I know, right?
Oh my god, that man eats. I'm so jealous.
Black Samoan. People forget he's Black Samoan. Bigness is like in the DNA. He just took it and made it all muscle because he has a fucking work ethic that's just unstoppable. But yeah, the boy can do an epic cheat meal like nobody I've ever seen. That plate of brownies was fucking scary. It was the size of a small child.
Have you seen his pancake stacks?
Yeah, his pancake stacks are pretty cool.
Yeah, they are.
Like, I would, if I had any sort of money whatsoever, I would pay to have The Rock train me, but I have, 50 cents in my bank account, so I don't think that's going to happen.
So I just went on the ATG and Twitter account because I haven't been on there in a couple days. We are now being followed by just the name alone of a podcast that intrigues me. It's the Amish Baby Machine.
Yes!
What the fuck is
It's the
that?
greatest name for a podcast ever. The Amish Baby Machine.
Amish Baby Machine, we have to have you on here.
It's Amish Baby Machine Podcast?
Yeah.
I have no idea what the podcast is
At
about.
Amish Bee Machine.
Wow.
They're supposedly an American pop culture comedy podcast. I haven't listened to them,
name.
but your Twitter name alone has me going, I'm going to check this out.
That is a great fucking name.
This is freaking amazing. I got distracted. Let me go. I'll do my news story next then.
Hooray, distraction.
All right, get on it.
This is kind of an interesting one for me. It's Netflix news. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings, he went on Facebook and he said, minor milestone. Last quarter we passed HBO in subscriber revenue, $1.146 billion versus $1.141 billion. They still kick our ass in profits and Emmys, but we are making progress. HBO rocks and we are honored to be in the same league. He goes, yes, I love Silicon Valley, and yes, it's a little close to home. But how badass is that? Is that Netflix is now bringing in more money in subscription revenue than HBO.
That's pretty cool for a service that has a lot less original content than HBO.
And it goes to show you how things are shifting in today's world now.
If you're not watching Silicon Valley, though, that show is fucking hysterical.
I'm 4 episodes in. It's fantastic.
The last episode, I can't say anything. Oh my god, I can't even say. It mathematical dicks.
This is what I want to bring up is I know you guys on listening to the podcast later can't see it, but the chart they've got here doing subscription revenue by quarter, HBO has a very small slope, and I'm going into math talk. I apologize. Look at the slope on the Netflix line. It's just been constant gains.
Yeah, that's almost a 45-degree angle. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And that's all I'm ever going to talk about on math on here. I apologize, guys.
Honestly, that's the last year? Look at HBO. That's not bad. It's not like HBO's a new fucking thing.
No,
it's just that they had a constant increase for the last year over every quarter. That's fucking impressive in just the media today.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I bet Game of Thrones is going to be a big part of it. And what is Newsroom theirs too?
Newsrooms, there's everything they license makes them a bunch of money. According to this article, HBO made $548 million last quarter, whereas Netflix made 71. Because there's your difference, licensing things out and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be nice to see what Netflix does once all the Marvel shows launch.
Yeah, it will be. It's very interesting to me, though, because Netflix has always said their goal is to become HBO faster than HBO can become us. And so this little rivalry is really fun to watch. And I'm a big Netflix fan because I watch way too much stuff on there. I think I spent 6 hours yesterday watching random comedy specials.
Nice.
It was bad, man. I was in a bad place. I just didn't want to do any work, so I was like, comedy.
Sometimes that's what you need.
It did the job, man.
I just finished the 4th season on there of Hell on Wheels. That is such a good show.
I heard it's pretty good.
I was going to say, I've heard good things about it. I haven't watched that one. It's on my list. I have a list of a list, basically. It's
yeah.
I've got like 300 items in my instant queue.
I put things on my list of things that I want to watch, but it will never happen.
Yeah, I've got some like
I'll get around to them all eventually because I can watch Netflix while I'm coloring.
Ugh. I gotta finish Silicon Valley first.
Yeah, I should probably watch more Arrow.
Yes,
Probably. You need to get ready because Flash comes out soon.
Hell yeah!
And side note, we talk on this show a lot about how hilarious Stephen Amell is on social media. You guys need to go and see the meme contest he's doing right now with the picture of him and Grant Gustin from Comic-Con. It's hilarious.
You need to clarify that. You and Anthony talk about that a lot. I just sit quietly to the side.
I meant we as in the show, we, not necessarily.
The royal we, Naki.
Yes, the royal we, because I'm fucking royalty, yo.
All hail the king.
Sorry, I was having a Jesse Pinkman moment there.
All hail the king.
I should have put a bitch at the end.
Arrow, bitch!
Arrow, bitch!
There's your Jesse Pinkman moment. Arrow, bitch!
Go Bob's Burgers?
No.
Oh.
What'd you have for us for news this week, Anthony?
My news this week, while we're talking about the good things DC's doing with their TV, let's talk about the bad things DC's doing with their movies. Basically, it all comes down to Warner Brothers blinked. Marvel set out a date for Captain America 3. Apparently, what was it, Affleck hurt his foot, whatever, nobody knows for sure. But Warner Brothers said, oh, we're going to have to move Batman 5 Superman, and they moved it to the same day as Captain America 3. And then, basically the chain of events was the fourth tier of superheroes that nobody thought would make any money, Guardians of the Galaxy, opened to the largest August opening in movie history. And DC went, you know what, we probably really don't want to fight a Marvel movie, and so Batman 5 Superman has a new release date. It has been moved from May 6th to March 25th.
So they moved it.
No, it's in a dead movie month.
Yeah, they're trying to pull it forward, and it's funny because I do have to. I mean, most of what the representatives from Warner Brothers are saying is just all talking heads crap, giving excuses. But the one thing that one of the executives said was correct, and I heard someone was talking about it on another show, where basically there's really no such thing as like the summer movie time anymore. Marvel can release a movie at any time they want, and it'll be a blockbuster if it's a good movie. And so releasing Batman vs Superman early, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's not going up for the fucking Emmys. So what's wrong with putting it out in February or March? It doesn't need to be a giant summer blockbuster film. It's just going to be a giant blockbuster film because it's still Batman vs Superman. So, worldwide, it's probably going to make a lot more money than it makes here because people aren't really that excited for it here because there's other things to be excited for. But it's still going to be a Batman vs Superman movie. It's going to pull in 400, 500 million worldwide, guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm less saying that DC blinked. I mean, they moved a movie forward after they'd moved it back. So, I mean, you could make the argument that they fixed their delay issues they had. So they can have less
moved it back after they moved it forward.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've jokingly made fun of the whole competition between it, but at the same time, I hope that movie does well too, but it's a Zack Snyder film, so I have less faith.
Why do you hope it does well?
Because it's good for the comic book world as a whole if comic book movies continue to do well, because the next one that's a stinker will taint all movies, because everyone's like, oh, the last one I saw was really crappy. They're not going to think that, oh, this was DC and this is Marvel Studios. They're going to be like, oh, that Superman movie sucked ass. I don't want to go see Doctor Strange.
Now, I really don't think it's going to happen. I think in this day and age, what media has come to realize is that superhero is its own genre. It's literally, you see horror films, dramas, comedies, and superhero films. Like, that's what movies is breaking down to today, because there are so many comic book movies and properties that can be turned into, great films and really good TV shows. And so it's becoming its own thing where it doesn't have to be part of any other genre anymore. So I don't think, they keep talking about like the superhero bubble is going to burst. I really don't think it's ever going to burst. There's too much source material. They can keep making Spider-Man movies for the next 100 years and never retell the same story if they wanted to.
See, I think with Chris's point, I don't think it'll affect the Marvel movies. I think they're going to be like, why don't we have a good, because after Man of Steel, I said, that I wasn't going to see DC movies until they started bringing back what DC was to me. Like you had Superman is the big Boy Scout essentially, and making dark Batman films makes sense because Batman is a pretty dark character, though he's. But to make a dark Superman movie didn't make any sense.
Except to executives who said, "Oh, well, the Nolan stuff was great because it was grim and gritty. So all of our films have to be grim and gritty." Yeah.
Well, now we have dark Batman vs Superman. I actually liked the Batman vs Superman series that they did when we years ago, but this stuff that they're bringing out is basically, oh no, this is actually the Justice League. We're not going to tell you that though. And which would be fine if they would just say, here's the Justice League, but they're not. They're playing games with it that aren't smart games. If they played smart games with it, like how Marvel's doing, where they send out kind of tester movies, like, okay, here's Iron Man. Let's see if anybody has any sort of interest in Iron Man. Okay, now here's Thor. These are characters that are not, everybody who's a comic book fan knows them, but not necessarily people who aren't comic book fans know them.
So Iron Man was a third-tier character when his first film came out.
Right. These are but these Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, these people that are all rumored to be in the new DC movie, these are all characters everybody knows. They don't need to make a Justice League, builder movie like they did with Avengers. They don't need to do that. They could just be like, here's a Justice League movie. All these characters. Because DC has the brand down. Everybody knows DC characters.
Yeah, they should have just had the balls to come straight out with the Justice League movie. I think I look back at it when I was talking about when I went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy. That is the 30th Marvel film I've seen on opening day in a row. So since Blade, there have been 30 Marvel properties that have gone to theaters. In that time, we've gotten 3 Nolan Batmans, we've gotten Man of Steel, we've gotten Superman Returns, Constantine, Green Lantern, and I think there's one more DC property. But we're talking 9 compared to 30. So for every DC movie that comes out, we get at least 3 Marvel films. Just risk alone. Marvel was willing to risk putting out films and just see what happened. They're just the sheer number of them, and the fact that DC's got a catalog at least the size of Marvel. They've got the Trinity. The fact that they can't get their executives to all get around and agree to put out a damn Wonder Woman film is just pathetic. They're sitting here trying to wrangle in a Justice League Batman Superman sequel movie instead of just saying, you know what, fuck it, Justice League.
Well, that's partly because, for lack of a better term, they're running scared now because of the widespread success Marvel's had with all of their stuff, and that Marvel can't seem to miss at this moment. And DC, let's see, Superman Returns widely panned. Nolan movies, the first 2 everyone seems to really enjoy. The third one's a bone of contention for a lot of people. A lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it and think it didn't live up. So I don't know how to put it right. I don't want to say they're in panic mode, but they've got to make a move. So I guess their move is to try and start doing their own version of Marvel, where they seed a bunch of stuff to try and do this massive slate of movies. Because they just announced a crap ton of movies out until 2024 or something like that.
Yeah, but I agree with what Naki was saying. Is they don't need to. Not with the Justice League. For leading up to the Avengers, it made sense for Marvel to do what they did, even though everybody said it was a bad idea. For the Justice League, I think DC should have done the exact opposite. They should have just dropped a Justice League film.
Well, see, Chris brings up a point that I tend to agree with in the chat room. He says DC doesn't believe they can sell anything that's not Batman, Superman, or Justice League.
And that's true.
Look at their cartoons, for instance.
Yeah, I've discussed in the past. I've discussed how much DC has been such a letdown to me as I've become an adult, because I'm just like, wait, you have all of this stuff. You have great material that you're just not going to touch because it doesn't say Superman or Batman on it. And I'm like, look at, and even Wonder Woman doesn't get much of her light that she should get, because after Linda Carter, where did we see her? And then we have, you got Batwoman, you've got Batwing, you've had this whole Bat family that we never touch on. There's Batgirl, there's, even like on my Instagram feed, and this is really really stupid, but it's something that really irked me. There's a Batman coloring book that I got, and all that is in the Batman coloring book was literally there was like 95 pictures of Batman, there was 100 pictures of the Joker, like 45 pictures of the fucking Penguin, but there was no Batgirl, no Batwoman. There was even a man Bat.
Everybody loves Burgess Meredith.
Okay, but wait. There was even a man Bat picture, but there was no Catwoman. Okay?
That is sad.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that irritates the shit out of me. And then we get like the thing is that's really going to bother me with this Batman Superman film is that it's going to be dark and gritty, and people are going to go see it. So all we're going to get is dark and gritty. I don't want dark and gritty.
Well, that's what happens when you put Zack Snyder there to helm it all. I mean, that's what he
it's
does.
proving to the WB executives that formula works.
It doesn't, though. It worked for Batman.
Because it made sense for
Because
Batman.
it makes sense for Batman, but it doesn't work for Superman. Superman is this, like, it should be bright and colorful like Superman Returns was. They just had a shitty fucking story
It's
with
like
Superman.
it's like what Chris said earlier in the chat room. He goes, DC got Superman's powers right in that movie, but the character's so wrong. I mean, and that's a big thing. They pigeonholed Superman's character into something he isn't. And I've bitched about it enough.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start on it again. But if anything, Marvel has proven that you stick with what makes your characters work. Marvel's all about the bright and colorful, and there's darkness in things, but at the same time, there's a lightheartedness to a lot of Marvel films. And I think that's part of why Guardians succeeds so well, is it has that goofiness at times, but at the same time, those moments of seriousness. They don't have to be all dark all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Marvel understands the heart of their characters when they bring them to film.
DC movies are emo, yo.
Well,
Somebody talked about on Fat Man on Batman that DC makes movie and TV versions of their characters. Marvel brings comic books to life.
Yes, that's
It's
a fair
very
statement.
different thing.
I mean, look at a perfect example of the heart that Marvel shows in their movies while still being goofy. In Guardians of the Galaxy, there is a scene where Drax and Rocket are both very drunk and they're fighting. And Rocket kind of breaks down and he's like, I never asked to be made. I never asked to be created this way. I never asked to be someone who was poked and prodded and created. I was never asked.
Back together over and over again.
I was never asked for that.
Vicious line.
I mean, can we just appreciate that line? And it was still a fucking great gritty. Like there was still goofiness and grittiness. It was all in the same movie. That's why I really liked Guardians, is because you still have, you know, the goofiness that is comic books with the grittiness that everybody is like trying to sell these days.
Right. And Chris Hansen in the chat room again brings up another good point. He goes, Winter Soldier is both dark and tense, but somehow still colorful and fun. I mean, that movie also is another great example of moments of lightheartedness with, holy shit, what the hell is going on? Like, Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow teasing Steve about getting a date.
Yeah, that's a dark spy thriller that has great moments of comedy in it. It just happens to star Captain America. It's crazy what they did with that movie. And yeah, and it actually, the thing that Rocket said led to one of my favorite memes where somebody took those images of Rocket saying that and put it side by side with the Winter Soldier. And I was like, oh, feels.
Yeah, so many feelings. And but that was what it, like, okay, Guardians of the Galaxy, in the first 5 minutes I teared up, not even gonna lie. And then I fucking cried over a tree.
Nice.
What fucking movies do that to you? But then you have those moments where you're like, where it's just funny. Like, they have, like, you know, you got Star-Lord, who is not only just, like, you know, he's the ladies' man and whatever, and I really kind of hope that they bring in the Tony Stark, Star-Lord, Gamora love triangle, because I thought it was hilarious in the comic book. But, I mean,
War's always Saldana, I'm all for it.
I mean, did you know Rosario Dawson passed up that role? Anyways.
Oh, wait,
yeah,
hold on.
now
I'm fixing Rosario Dawson green.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that would have worked.
I'll give you all
it worked.
Nope, I'm not showing you nothing. All right.
I don't have my camera on, so there.
I mean, this is something we harp on a lot. It's the big difference between Marvel and DC flicks. I mean, we can continue talking it. There's a distinct difference.
Yeah, I think it's weird because DC takes their risks on their TV shows, which I think that's the weirdest thing. I am more excited for Arrow season 3, a character I never cared about in the comics, but fucking love on TV. I am more excited for season 3 of Arrow to premiere than I am to see the Batman versus Superman movie. That tells me DC's doing something wrong.
I'm more excited for Flash than I am that too.
Oh yeah, Flash definitely way more than Batman versus Superman. At the same time, I'm excited for every Marvel film that's coming out. S.H.I.E.L.D. is, it's okay. Like, it's a fun show, but like, I was trying to think about like on a scale level, and like on a good episode, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s a 6, and they peak at like an 8, like right after that Captain America movie, and they intertwine it. It was great. Arrow is consistently a 7, jumps up to an 8, 9, and has the occasional 10. Like, fucking on TV, DC's killing it. They just
season 2 finale. The season 2 finale of Arrow is one of the best things I saw on TV last year. No joke.
Probably the best fight choreography outside of the Raid films in the last 5 years. Definitely the best fight choreography on TV.
In the chat room, Chris has made some interesting points. Marvel's whole thing is that they're making different genres of film with comic book twists. It is about story and characters first. DC is making superhero movies because why the fuck not? Clone Freak has then said it's half-hearted money grabbing.
Yeah. Because they'll just keep making Superman and Batman movies forever because those are their characters, they own them. Basically, DC's doing with their characters what Sony and Fox are doing with the Marvel characters they have the rights to. They're making movies because they have the rights to them. Not because they have great ideas for movies. Not because they think they could run an amazing franchise and entertain people.
I was going to say that until X-Men First Class. Then Fox kind of turned the corner with me when it came to some of their stuff. They're making good movies.
They can still accidentally make a great film, but Fox is going to keep making an X-Men film every 3 years forever just to keep the license. The same way Sony's going to make a new Spider-Man film every 3 years forever to keep the license, whether or not they're good. They're just making them as long as they make money.
What I was going to say, though, is they've kind of changed up the formula, though, with the most recent run of X-Men movies. Like, X-Men Days of Future Past was like a time travel crazy movie like that with all sorts of things going on. The Wolverine is basically a weird samurai movie.
Yeah.
Of course, a modernized one. They're not going the traditional, just here's an X-Men story. They're kind of doing a different flavor of a story with the X-Men characters. I've enjoyed that a lot. I'm very curious to see where they go next. It's not like the Fantastic Four movies where they're just putting one out to keep licenses and things like that supposedly have nothing to do with the comics, and I'm sitting here going, not seeing that.
Yeah, I'm so scared of that one. Like, what I consider really bad casting, and no, not Michael B. Jordan, I love that guy. I think the people that they cast for Reed Richards and The Thing should have been swapped.
Yeah.
Because the guy they have playing Reed Richards has played the big dumb friend in the last 4 films I've seen him in. I don't know how they cast him as Reed Richards.
So we should start getting into Guardians here in a second, but Chris brought up a point that's it kind of solidified something that's been nagging in the back of my head that I couldn't quite put in words. He goes, Arrow Season 2 was Dark Knight Rises done better.
You mean he didn't bump a bomb around New York?
Well, there's no bomb, but you still had like the hordes of armies and things like that.
He basically used a human bomb to threaten an entire city.
Yeah.
It was just with a super soldier army instead of a nuclear bomb. Because, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb, but it's really hard to get rid of a super soldier army.
I know, right? But that's kind of something I've had niggling in the back of my head, and I was going, wait. And I could never put the words to it. And once he wrote that in the chat room, I was like, you know what? He's right.
That's pretty good. I don't know. I still love Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's Bane is amazing. I don't care what anybody says.
As is Manu Bennett's Slade Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Manu Bennett is fucking spectacular. But he does all of his acting with basically his eye covered. Tom Hardy had to pull off a supervillain where you can only see his eyes. That is some seriously tough fucking acting. You tell an actor, we're not going to show your face. And unlike every other superhero movie where Spider-Man can't fucking keep his mask on, Bane's mask never fucking came off after they showed him with the mask on.
This is true.
Batman's always ripping his helmet off. Spider-Man's taking his mask off. Fucking Tom Hardy gets a goddamn oven mitt stuffed in front of his face and then gets told to act.
Batman never yanked his helmet off in the Nolan films, though, did he?
I always picture the
Keaton one where he rips off the rubber.
The Keaton one where it's like, oh look, it really is just light rubber. Rip. So if it came off that easy, I'm pretty sure it would have came off every time you got punched in the head.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking. But looking at the time, we did say we were going to spoil the crap out of Guardians of the Galaxy as we talked about it. So at this point, guys, we're going to go into Guardians of the Galaxy. If you haven't seen it yet, shame on you, number one. Number two, here come the spoilers. So spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I've said it enough.
Ooga chaka. Guess
If you
what?
haven't seen Guardians and you went and saw Turtles, we're not friends anymore.
There's no way we
This
can be
is true.
BFFs. No, we I have had the awesome mix on repeat since we saw Guardians. Like, and the thing is that like it's all songs that we all know, and technically you don't have to even like download like new albums or anything like that because they're all songs from the 70s. They're available everywhere.
The problem is I can't turn my stepdad's 8-tracks into MP3s.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
have that technology.
That
Because
makes
otherwise,
me
yes, I would have all of those songs because they're in my parents' basement on 8-track.
The question I have for you guys is I was on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. last week on the Gonna Geek Network over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com, had to get the plug-in, and we were talking Guardians of the Galaxy. And I found out there's the awesome mix and there's also the score, but you can also buy, it's like the limited edition or something like that, that combines the both of them for $14. So which one did you guys get?
Just the awesome mix.
Yeah.
I actually don't do scores to movies unless there was something in there that was really intense to me. Like I have the Lord of the Rings ones, and I think that's it. I have like Borderlands, and I have Bastion. Bastion is a really great soundtrack if you like ambient music and stuff like that. Bastion is great for. I keep that on in the background while I'm writing or drawing.
See, I love scores for when I'm writing or doing stuff like that. In the chat room, Chris Hansen said he did see Turtles only after seeing Guardians of the Galaxy twice. So you're still cool. You're still cool.
We're still okay. And the fact that he says Turtles wasn't terrible makes me sad. But I don't know. Like I'm just so against this movie that I probably like even if I went and saw it and it was a decent movie, I'd still be like, fuck this movie. Fuck it. Bye. Fuck it. Bye. Fucking bye.
Fuck this movie because, I mean, it's just another version of the Turtles. It's meant for 6-year-old boys today. Not 6-year-old boys from the 80s that watched the first cartoon version of the Turtles. It's not meant for me. And
That's
so
true.
I'm not really like, fuck this movie, but at the same time, I see no reason to go see the middle-aged Super Soldier Shrek Hulks when Guardians of the Galaxy is still in the theater.
For me, it's
That
just
is a fantastic movie.
yeah. For me, I just don't care. It's not my Turtles, so I'm like, I hope somebody enjoys it, but I'm like, it's not for me. I have no urge to see it. If it comes on Netflix one day, maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it for free eventually. I love it. I saw an article where somebody asked if this was actually Michael Bay just punishing Megan Fox for that Nazi comment. Like he actually made an entire film and rehired her just as a form of punishment. I thought that was fucking a hilarious idea.
Because why not? But anyway, so Guardians. Let's talk Guardians. So, did they like cast perfectly Star-Lord or what?
Oh man, Chris Pratt. I had no idea what to expect because I'd only seen him in a couple things here and there. His Peter
I've only seen him in
Quill
Parks and Rec.
was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and as I was watching that, I was like, you know what? He needs to be Indiana Jones if they ever reboot it. And then the internet took care of that for me. I don't know if you guys
I
seen
was
it.
going to say, have you seen the photo?
Yeah, they photoshopped his face on the Harrison Ford as
Oh,
Indiana
yeah.
Jones, and I was like, holy crap.
Indiana Pratt is fucking perfect.
He actually went on record to say that his influences was Han Solo and shit, who was it? Now I lost it.
Yeah,
It
here's
was
the
Han-
picture.
It was
If you
Han
guys-
Solo and somebody else, and I can't remember what it was, but it was amazing.
If you guys haven't seen it yet, this is the photoshopped image of Chris Pratt's face on Harrison Ford's body from Indiana Jones. And I was like, holy shit.
And it's also a damn fine Photoshop. Whoever did
I was
that
gonna say this was a really good
job.
Photoshop.
Yeah. So it's not just a great idea, it's actually a really good piece of Photoshop, which you don't see that often these days.
I mean, let's be honest though, the casting in this movie was pretty much spot on. I had my doubts about Dave Bautista going into it. He was good. He was all right as Drax.
He
He
doesn't
was
need
fucking
to be.
great.
He
Have you
didn't
seen
need to-
the 5 films he's done since he left wrestling?
To be fair, I haven't.
I've seen all of them because I am a huge wrestling fan.
Man
And
with the
there
Iron
are
Fist
some
was great.
really bad movies that have Dave Bautista in them. And as the Iron Body and the Man with the Iron Fist, or Bronze Body, he was pretty good, but not great. He is fucking spectacular in this compared to the other movies he's done. James Gunn actually got him to act.
Yeah.
So I was highly impressed.
The funny thing is, James Gunn, I was reading some of the stuff, originally didn't want Chris Pratt as Star-Lord until he auditioned. He was like, holy shit. He's like, yeah, you can do this. We'll have a fat Star-Lord if we need to.
Well, yeah, I loved it because the Yahoo guy that was interviewing him asked him if he knew how old Harrison Ford was when he played Han Solo, and he said he was 35.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Pratt right now is 35.
Yeah.
So, like, he's literally on course to be the new Harrison Ford.
But this is his big
not
coming
the
out
first
movie.
thing an actor could hear.
Yeah, I mean, this is his big thing. Like, he's been in Zero Dark 30 and stuff, but he's never been the man. And in this movie, he was the man, and he did really well. So now, like, I couldn't have cared less about Jurassic World, but now I'm like, hey, Chris Pratt's in it. I might want to go check that out.
Oh, he's in that?
He's in Jurassic World.
Nice, yeah, because, I mean, honestly, at this point, after Guardians, I think I would watch him in anything. Like, because I always loved him on Parks and Rec, but he was a big, goofy, dumb guy. And he does that really well. He was always funny on that show, but I'd never seen Zero Dark 30, so I'd only seen him as the big, goofy, dumb guy. And so I had no idea what to expect with him in this one. And just even on the previews, it's like, wow, he's got the snarky down. He fucking went and got in shape. Like, you know, it's fucking crazy. He's just spectacular. And I love the fact that he's telling people to not work out when people ask him about how he got in shape for this movie. He's like, unless someone's paying you millions of dollars to star in a film, go have a cupcake. Life is too fucking short.
Yeah, I saw that.
The way that they explained his sudden weight loss on Parks and Rec was I quit drinking beer for 6 months.
Nice. That'll do it. It's taking a couple pounds off me. Not Chris Pratt weight, but shit.
It was a fun movie for me, and like stuff I thought was going to be gimmicky. I thought they were just going to do a gimmicky Rocket Raccoon where he's doing, oh, bang your dad, like he does in the comics. No, they actually made him a good character you can kind of be sympathetic towards at times like that. I was very impressed. And that leads me, because I can take my shot at Superman again on this one. Because there's another picture going around, which made me laugh. It's basically a picture of Rocket Raccoon, and it says that awkward moment when you realize this guy with an arrow towards Rocket went out of his way to save more civilians than Superman did in Man of Steel.
Very true. But I also still argue that it's Superman who's only been Superman for 5 minutes.
This is true.
It's not the Superman that's Christopher Reeves who grew up saving people. It's the Superman who tried to hide because basically his dad was a prick.
This is a lab experiment raccoon that's a bounty hunter, doesn't give two shits about people, though.
Yep, and was still able and willing to save more civilians than Superman did in his movie, which is
who in conjunction with a bunch of criminals saves everyone in the galaxy.
Yep. If you really want to hear some bad shit about Superman, go back and listen to the last episode of Fat Man on Batman that Joe Quesada's on, and he perfectly explains how Zod is the hero of that film.
I've heard about that.
It's a fucking great 10-minute segment. And you listen to that, it's like, oh my god, Man of Steel is even worse than I thought it was, because Zod is the hero.
Can we talk about how amazing Vin Diesel did by saying, I am Groot, too?
And
oh, yeah.
We are Groot.
We are Groot. I cried over a fucking tree. Come on.
And here's the other thing I love, because he probably got paid, what, 10, 15 million bucks to voice a character, right? Who says 3 words.
5.
But, they turn the 3 into 5. And, he does say it, maybe, 30 different ways in the film to try to give different actual emotions.
He actually recorded it 1,000 times.
Yeah, he did it. Well, and he did it in every language that the film was available in. Which, that is fucking awesome. That, he didn't have to do that. He could have just done the English version. But, I want to hear somebody out there needs to do an audio file of all the different languages of We Are Groot. Because I want to hear that shit in Cantonese and Farsi and all the different ways that Vin Diesel said it. Because I think it's awesome that he did all of them.
When he was doing the late night show rounds, I guess, I think, was it Kimmel he was on? I can't remember, but whatever he was on, the host kept asking him to do the lines in different languages. Just he had to stop and think, he did it in Chinese at one point, he did it German at one point.
And
I saw one where he was doing, they were asking, if you were putting your kids to bed, say We Are Groot. And, I heard a couple of those, but I haven't heard them in the other languages. I'll have to go find that.
That's what I heard. I haven't seen it myself.
He said that he did it because he's like, I know how much I'm getting paid. I'm going to put the work towards it. That's fucking why I love Vin Diesel, because he's like, yeah, I know that I'm about to get paid fucking $15 million to just say I am Groot.
Yeah, he has a work ethic. Which is
He has
funny
a
because
good
Paul
work
Bettany has the exact opposite thing happening, where
Yeah, I
he
know,
used
right?
to do 4 hours worth of work, get a bucket of money, and go home. And now he's like, fuck, now I'm actually the Vision. I have to actually go to work and actually go to work every day?
Yeah.
This sucks.
And Robert Downey Jr. has been busting his balls about it too.
Yep. It's like, oh, they found you out, Bettany. They found you out, bitch. You gotta work now.
So, okay, with the amazingness that was Guardians of the Galaxy, we now know where three of the stones from the Infinity Stones are.
Infinity Gems, yep.
Yeah, the Infinity Gems. Sorry.
We know
So
4.
I thought we've only got 3 so far. We got
Loki's
the Tesseract.
staff is arguably an Infinity Gem, is what a lot of people are saying.
Loki's staff is just based on the Tesseract. It's just energy from the Tesseract. It's an extension of it. It can't be a different stone because it's one color. If they say that that's a 4th stone, that's poor.
There's
poor
varying theories out there. Some people
Yeah.
theorize it is a stone, other people theorize it's not.
Which one would it be if it was an Infinity Gem? Which one would it be?
I don't remember. I saw the theory somewhere, but
Because we've got the Tesseract, we've got the Aether, we've got what did they rule this one as?
power,
Guardians-
I think, is what it was.
No, the Aether is the power, or it should be that the Aether is the power stone because it's red. If they're actually sticking by the correct color schemes, the Aether should have been the power stone because the red one is the power stone.
Okay, so
This
I'm
would
on
have been the soul gem.
Yeah, I'm on Screen Rant right now. They've got a breakdown. Space is purple, mind is blue, soul is green, reality is yellow, time is gold, and power is red. Is what they're saying. And then they have their theory for...
Yeah, see, and I saw that new one, and I don't think it actually matches up with the Infinity Gauntlet comic books from the late 80s, early 90s.
No, I think it's based
I
off
think
of...
the color scheme is different now.
I think it's off of the Illuminati stuff. So Screen Rant recaps and says the Space Stone is the Tesseract, the Mind Stone is Loki's staff, the Reality Stone is the Ether, and the Power Stone is the Orb from Guardians.
The purple one?
Yeah. So they say all we need now are the Soul and Time Infinity Stones, which will be likely yellow, orange, or green, and we'll have all 6. That is what Screen Rant's theory is. So they're theorizing that Loki's staff is a gem.
Well, if Loki's staff is a gem, it would have to change color from the Tesseract. Like they'd have to keep it a different color.
Right, I mean, but it sort of makes sense if it was, though, because you're keeping these on different planes, in different locations. Because you wouldn't have taken it back to Asgard to have 2 stones in one place, because they purposely got rid of the Ether because it was a stone. Who knows?
In any case, I think it's cool that, I didn't know if they were going to do the Infinity Gems, like, with Guardians, because I knew Thanos was going to be in Guardians, but I didn't know how much they were going to cross into the Avengers universe.
And how badass was it that Josh Brolin was Thanos?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think it's pretty badass that they're actually going forward with an Infinity Gem storyline because, like a lot of comic fans, I want to see there's one page from the Infinity Gauntlet that they need to have on screen, and it'll be Chris Evans standing in front of Thanos with Thanos holding the Infinity Gauntlet and Chris Evans saying, as long as one of us is standing and breathing, you haven't won.
Yeah. Which
is one of the best fucking pages of a comic book ever. A normal, mortal human, basically, stood in front of a god and said, we're not going to stop fighting.
And in Avengers 2, they have to have the scene where Thor, with all the rest of the Avengers behind him, goes, Ultron, we would have words with thee. They have to do it.
Definitely, yeah. That line has to be in that film.
That's one of my favorite panels of all time. The Avengers just beat to shit, ready to take on Ultron.
I'm so excited for that movie.
Like, how much did Guardians build up? Like, even, like, the Marvel Universe, like, even more. Because, like, now we're, like, sitting here like, okay, wait, now we can cross into the Avengers, which means we can get the Tony Stark in space. We can get...
I don't think that's happening.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I think, it's a possibility now. It's there. We could have the Gamora, Star-Lord, Tony Stark love triangle thing happen.
Well, here's my theory for what they're going to do, and this is just pure fan theory, so I hope I'm right, but I probably won't be. Guardians 2 is the first half of the Infinity Gauntlet. Avengers 3 is the second half, and they cross them over.
I could see that.
I kind of hope that they don't do something like that. Honestly, and this is the thing that I've talked about in the past, where I don't want to have to see movies. I want to go see them because I want to see them. Which, with Marvel, I don't see that being a problem.
I want to see Marvel movies because they say Marvel Studios on them, and I can trust that brand at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Like with Marvel, I don't feel like it's going to be a huge thing, but like, watch if they if this branches off into the other studios doing superhero films. That's gonna leave me with a bad taste in my mouth, I think. And then if they start crossing into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I don't want to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm sorry, I don't have time to watch another show.
Well, they're not doing it
All
this
right,
year,
John Drew, settle down.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And John Drew and I actually have a very similar stance on this one.
I still applaud them for the balls that took to do a crossover like that, which has never been done before.
And nobody's making you watch anything the same way. You don't have to buy all the tie-ins to whatever summer crossover is happening at Marvel. But if you do, you get more story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't... Like I said, I trust the Marvel Studio brand. I like all of their movies so far. There's nothing that I'm, saying, oh, I'll never see that movie with Marvel, as I am with DC. But I don't... I want to see movies because I want to see movies, not because I have to see movies. Does that make sense?
Okay, so then explain how they do the Infinity Gauntlet story in one film.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's
I know.
That would be your option. And the build-up leading up to it, I mean, they've had to spread that out over basically 6 films already as it is, because it is such a huge story. I don't think they can contain it all within Avengers 3.
That's what I'm thinking. Is it's just so much, considering they've basically used all their movies so far to build up to this event.
As long as they don't do what they did in X3, I think I would be fine. I'm just saying, if they build up, if they do stuff like that, it's not going to bother me with Marvel or anything like that. But it would bother me if they did it with other studios.
It makes sense with Marvel the way they've set up all their movies. That's why I think they can get away with it.
Right.
And yeah, because we know it'll be good. Why has everybody got a bag on X3? I love Madrox. Multiple Man was awesome.
That was cool. Chris brought up a good point in the chat room. I did want to share it. He goes, I want the Avengers to take down Thanos, and after the credits, the Guardians show up and say, oh man, did we miss it?
That would be great. That would be a good
That would
sticker.
be great.
Damn it!
All right, so do we want to talk about the one thing I hated about Guardians?
Go for it.
Let's say.
See, I love X3 because I'm a Jamie Madrox fan. My other major love of old Marvel comics, especially the 70s, is the man called Nova, who somehow, when he joined the New Warriors, became Kid Nova 15 years later, which doesn't make any sense. But Nova's a fucking badass. Always has been a badass. And they fucked up the Nova Corps. Why are they in spaceships? Why does their fucking helmet not give them the ability to fly? They quite literally, utterly failed on an entire class of Marvel superheroes. The Nova Corps are the equivalent of the Green Lantern Corps as being Marvel space cops. Each and every one of them has a helmet that gives them the ability to fly in space, communicate, jump through fucking wormholes, and blast bitches with gravimetric pulses. What do we get? We get guys in funky-looking armor that fly ships that look like the Nova Star. What?
Okay, so let me do a little fan writing here. Here's how they might fix that. As they realize, oh shit, we couldn't do much to do this. So they have to explore new methods of strengthening the Nova Corps.
That's kind of what I was thinking, yeah. When you see all those ships failing, because it was a cool idea. And don't get me wrong, they look great. I like how they kind of did a realistic version of the armor, where you still get the glowing Nova bursts on the chest, and the helmets still kind of look... They don't quite look as cool as they do in the comics, but they still look kind of cool. And then you had the lieutenants and the officers and stuff wearing a different version of a military uniform. And then the ships being Nova bursts that actually open up and create a shield for protection is a very cool thing. Because the Nova Corps really is more about defending people than going out and kicking ass. But yeah, it's just... I saw that, I'm like, okay, where's my Richard Rider? Where's the guy flying around, fucking having no idea how he got his powers, no idea how to use them, completely fucking just... over his head and just having a blast with it because all of a sudden he can fly.
That's what Nathan Fillion's going to be.
Oh.
Well, no,
Well,
Nathan
that would've been
Fillion was
nice,
already
but-
the guy. He was the guy in the prison. We already saw him.
Yeah, the guy that nobody noticed.
Yeah, no. I mean, that was one of the Easter eggs, but at the same time, since he was just a voice, he can come back and do whatever he wants. That's part of the reason why.
Yeah.
He was rumored to have been offered the role of Howard the Duck that Seth Green took at the end, and he turned it down is because supposedly he wants to have a bigger role in the Marvel Universe. Now, this is the internet saying that, so it might not be true.
Well, and there was a James Gunn article where he said that they were going to introduce Nova into this film, and they honestly didn't do it because he is a bigger character than every member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. For anybody that's a fan of the Marvel Universe, Nova has had a hell of a lot more to do with all of this, the current Marvel Universe than the Guardians have, and the new Guardians team basically got together because of Nova.
Right.
And so he really would have overshadowed the storyline, and so I can see why James Gunn pulled the character out. It does make sense. I'm not mad at him for that because it would have been putting what's, on a good day, a second-tier character during the Annihilation Wave into a movie that's filled with fourth-tier characters. And that it wouldn't have been fair to the people that are supposed to be the actual star of the movie. And so yeah, I hope they bring him back. So I hope they use Guardians as a way to bring him in.
Chris has in the chat room, he says his brother has a theory they're going to somehow draw power from the stone to create the Nova Force.
Nice. Which, yeah, it could work. Because, yeah, the Nova Force is a shared energy source between all members of the Nova Corps.
And then Clone Freak 1 said John C. Reilly is the first Nova to me.
Which technically is. He's Roman Day.
Yes.
And in the comics, Roman Day is the Nova who was dying and shot an energy blast into a malt shop in the 1960s Marvel Universe and hit a random kid sitting at a stool, and that's how Richard Rider became Nova. Pure fucking luck.
So, quick things real quick, because I know we're running short on time. There was a crap ton of Easter eggs in there, some of the big ones, a lot of 80s pop culture references. There was a picture of Alf. Peter Quill's ship is named the Milano after Alyssa Milano. I was thinking the cookies for some reason.
I was too. I was totally thinking cookies until I read that. I'm like, oh.
Lots of references to Footloose and Kevin Bacon as the great hero of this planet.
Yes, Kevin Bacon.
The Collector's Museum, if you might have missed it, here's some of the stuff that was cool in there. Cosmo the Space Dog, which was badass. Howard the Duck.
Was awesome.
A Dark Elf, a Chitauri, and then a Space Slug from James Gunn's movie Slither.
Okay, so there was a rumor that Thor was in there as a joke off of one of the old comics where the Collector captures Thor and keeps him. I never saw that, true or not.
Nor have I seen any screen caps. A lot of people are trying to say they saw Beta Ray Bill in there, and I didn't see that either.
Well, in the opening sequence when he's going through the dead city, there's a horse skull-looking face that he actually spins on a staff, and so a lot of people are thinking that was trying to be a reference to Beta Ray's dead body, which that would be a really shitty way to intro the character, as if he's already fucking dead.
Yeah.
And also, I read an article. Somebody was actually complaining about the fact that there wasn't an uproar about the fact that the Collector has slaves and people that he keeps in boxes.
He's the Collector.
That's how PC and bitchy people are now. Is that they were mad that there wasn't an uproar about a comic book villain doing bad things. He's supposed to be a fucking bad guy, you idiots!
But they don't know. These are people who don't read comics and don't know that the Collector's a bad guy.
And want to talk about it. And yeah, I'm getting really sick of a lot of movie reviewers and other stuff talking about things and not knowing a fucking bit about the source material and then making conclusions that are completely wrong. It's very aggravating.
Another one of the Easter eggs I really like, it's more of a shout-out, is the whole 12% joke that they have in there where Star-Lord says he has 12% of a plan. I don't know if you guys caught it. I didn't until later. It's kind of a callback to the Avengers where Tony Stark tells Pepper Potts that she gets 12% of the credit for creating Stark Tower.
Oh, nice. Thinking 12% is just going to be a running gag in Marvel.
So Slash Film said the way this happened is that Joss Whedon had read the script, and James Gunn had been a big fan of the Avengers, and he basically told James Gunn, be more like yourself in this. It's okay, but you can make this better. So he left that in there as kind of an homage to Joss Whedon for pointing in the right direction on there.
Just a quick question on my end. With the Collector's collection basically being blown up, does that mean he lost the ether?
Well, since we didn't see a gigantic red explosion take out the planet, I would assume no.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't necessarily in the same room as everything else, because I would assume his collection spans multiple rooms.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing, too, because I'm trying to remember, because I have only seen it once, but they had the Collector was on Nowhere, right?
Yeah.
He was inside the Celestial's head.
Yep.
But the Collector, I mean, if I remember correctly from the Marvel Comics, he has his own spaceship, like Brainiac style, where he has all of his stuff. I'm wondering if that was just like his little
travel
office
collection?
on Nowhere.
Well, because Nowhere is technically where the Guardians' base is.
Yeah, with Cosmo the space dog.
Yeah, Cosmo is technically like their leader.
Yes, he
So
coordinates
I'm wondering
everything.
if we have a version of the Collector where like he has a gigantic, aircraft carrier sized spaceship out there where he keeps the really important shit, and the stuff that he had on Nowhere was just like his business office, and so that's why the items there weren't quite as deadly. It was more stuff like Howard the Duck.
Right, yeah. So a couple other Easter eggs that I saw that were in there, or things that we should have noticed, is that the aliens that were working for Ronan, they weren't the Badoon like they are in the comics. It was the Sakarans. For those eagle-eyed listeners or viewers of other things, the Hulk gets stranded on the planet Sakaar when he goes and does the World War Hulk arc. So they're setting it up. You can do World War Hulk now because the Sakarans have been introduced.
Yeah, which I'm not gonna hold my breath. But what I wouldn't fucking give to see Ruffalo as a gladiator on Planet Hulk.
I know.
That would be the best shit ever. But I don't think Marvel would ever have the balls to do World War Hulk. Even if they do everything else.
Movie?
There's a rumor. It hasn't been announced yet.
Rumored, yeah, because he's signed for so many films that people are thinking it can't all just be cameos in Avengers.
Marvel is
at least one of them has to be a new Hulk film.
Marvel's just announced a bunch of dates for movies at this point that we don't have movie titles associated with.
I want Black Widow movie.
There's a rumor that there's a Black Widow screenplay that has been completed by, God, what's her name? She was one of the screenwriters who helped write Guardians, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of her name.
Yeah, I can't either.
Plus, and I mean, look at all the positive reaction that Marvel's had to Ruffalo. I can't imagine them passing up the chance to do a new Hulk film, without Ed Norton, with an actor that will actually, kind of do what he's told, just to see if they could end up turning it into another like a full trilogy. Because we've never gotten a Hulk actor to play the Hulk twice.
Oh shit! Okay, sorry. In the chat room, Chris has put Ronan had a red scar, a scar marking on his armor, making him the Red Scar. That could be a thing. That could be a thing.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it
an
could
idea,
be.
though. Oh, a Planet Hulk with Ruffalo would be fucking amazing.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find a couple other Easter eggs real quick because I saw some stuff. Man, I skipped way. Oh, supposedly you can still see the cocoon in there that was seen in the end of Thor, which you have Adam Warlock in it.
Which is where you would get the soul gem from, because he's born with it in his forehead.
Okay, this was interesting.
You're a badass when you're born with an infinity gem in your forehead.
This is interesting, and we can start wrapping up because this is the last of the few Easter eggs I've got. Is that Peter Quill's mother, the actress that played his mother, was also in Captain America: The First Avenger. She was one of the dancing background singers or dancers in his whole bit about selling war bonds.
Nice. So she grew up to give birth to Star-Lord.
Yeah.
I thought she was an autograph seeker or something. Oh, well.
No, according to Slash Film, she was in that dance scene.
Oh, okay.
I love the question that somebody asked. They said, because Kevin Bacon is an actual actor in the Marvel Universe now, according to Star-Lord, he starred in Footloose, does that mean that they can never bring in X-Men First Class? Or would it mean that Kevin Bacon, the actor, played Sebastian Shaw in a film called X-Men First Class in the Marvel Universe?
That'd be interesting. So one last thing, then we can wrap up because I know Naki's got to go. They have their breakdown on Slash Film of mapping things to the gems. They say Loki's staff maps to the Mind Gem, the Ether maps to the Reality Gem, the Orb maps to the Power Gem, and the Tesseract to the Space Gem. So there's a couple places or theories, and we've got 4 of the gems already.
And yeah, I'm going to stick with my guns and say if Loki's staff isn't just an extension of the Tesseract and it's a different gem all by itself, that's lazy fucking writing, Marvel.
Yeah, doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, to be honest. So that's been our spoiler-filled look at Guardians of the Galaxy, and we still got to bitch about other stuff at the same time. Chris asked real quick, who was the leader of the Sakarans in the comics? I don't know. If any of you guys know, feel free.
I think he was following up on his statement saying that Ronan had a red scar-like mark on his armor, making him the Red Scar, who was the leader of the Sakarans in the comics.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense then.
I think he was explaining who that was.
So let's wrap up real quick. Just anyone have any parting shots, final ideas before we close things out? Because we are about 10 minutes over time today.
I need more Guardians. Give it to me. Give it to me now.
Guardians 2 filmed in 2017. Or is it 16? I think it's 17.
Give it to me.
We need more metaphors.
No, they go. I will catch them.
Nothing goes over my head.
My reflexes are too good. I will catch it.
Yes.
I love the fact that Dave Bautista showed it on Twitter. Somebody already made him a lunchbox that said, I think it says finger across your throat means death. And it's a picture of Drax.
That's awesome.
And it's a beautiful thing, especially now because Dave's got, like, he's rocking the beard, so it really doesn't look like Drax. But yeah, it's an amazing picture, and I love the fact that guy, because I believe he had to quit wrestling because of a severe injury.
No, he already came back and was wrestling.
Yeah, but I don't think he can really do what he used to do because of the damage he's done to himself.
Yeah, he tore his left tricep.
Was it his tricep? Yeah, 'cause, I mean, the guy's had some physical problems just because of the sheer craziness that he did as a wrestler. The guy had some crazy matches, yeah, and of course steroids. But yeah, I mean, I love the fact that seeing him, he's having such a blast with this character and doing all the Guardians of the Galaxy press. The dude's just having fun, and I love to see when someone can leave wrestling and it's not, a bad thing. It's not like the end of their career and then they go downhill. And there's so many sad stories when people leave professional wrestling that it's really good to see a nice one once in a while.
That is true. So the thing I'm going to leave you guys with is that I'll talk about it more next week. I saw on Lego's idea page, which is basically their Kickstarter, there is a Batman 50th Anniversary, aka the TV show, Lego set that is up right now. It has 5,700 supporters. It needs 10,000 for Lego to consider making it. So I'll share all the links and stuff with you next week, but it is really badass. And
I'm still mad at them for not making the Winchester.
Yeah, but you see, they made Ecto 1 and the DeLorean, so I'm cool with them still.
Like, yeah, I voted for the Winchester, and it got enough votes, and they still said no.
Well, it doesn't mean they're going to make it if it gets that many votes. But since they have the DC contract, they can make it potentially. So tune in next week. We'll tell you more about the 50th anniversary Batman, the television show Lego set. And I'm sure we'll end up talking about Guardians of the Galaxy some more because we love this movie, because it's very Star Wars-ish. But I think that is going to wrap up episode 119 of All Things Good Nerdy. Don't forget, you can check us out live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern over at live.atgnpodcast.com. And if you can't catch the live show, feel free to catch the podcast version. We put it up generally that same day over at atgnpodcast.com or GonnaGeekNetwork.com. You can find it there on both those sites with all of our network friends. So I think that's going to wrap us up for this week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
We are Groot!
We are Groot.
We are Groot.